I'm joined by the very handsome Vinny, and together we'll be keeping you guys nice and safe on your glass bottom boat adventure. Before we get too far underway, just a bit of safety. Your life jacket's a low coral around, that's called spaghetti coral, so do try to spot that one too.
Where's the long
We've also got cauliflower coral, brain coral. Try to spot plate coral as well. Think of like a big, flat, round shape, but think of more a homemade plate than a store-bought plate. Has anybody seen any of these corals? That's okay, keep trying. I'm sure you'll spot some. Now also on this reef we've got a lot of marine life, so maybe as we're cruising on the sand you might have spotted a thick sausage. Those are our sea cucumbers, we've got loads around. They love to feed on the sand all day long. And what they have is a mouth, a butt and a stomach, and if you can imagine this thing is eating most of its time, most of its life. So can you guess which end it breathes out of? And I'll give you a hint, it's not its mouth. Our sea cucumbers are very similar in relation to starfish. They have the same feet. They have teeny tiny tube feet. Think of like a mini flexible plunger. They can swim when they I kind of got a bit wider on the back wall because I'm still learning it. So Kate's really good actually at driving that wall, and I'm rolling the So people do go that way, but I'm still learning that too. But I like to go this way because we have some other corals along this edge. Yeah, and there's so G-spot is one we don't go over. It's like a little circular one, but next to that is Graham's Bommy, and I think its limit is like maybe 1.2, 1.3 or 1.4. Turtle. Oh, turtle. Ooh, giant clam. So try to look out for some things around here. We do have some beautiful bivalves. So we've got our burrowing clams. You're going to see those embedding themselves into our rock and into our boulder corals. They essentially look like wavy lips or clouds, often in a darker colour. They get up to 10 to 15 centimetres. And why they do that, they secrete an acid from behind that allows them to embed themselves into the coral or rock. And if they weren't to do this, they would probably fall prey to some of our predators. Will depend on its size. They can live up to 120 years. Now it's really important, they look really pretty, but don't touch them. They are hemophiliac, so if you were to accidentally cut one or would get cut, it would gradually and slowly bleed out and die as it has no way to clot the bleed. But the cool thing about our giant clams is that they can actually fill to the size of an Olympic swimming pool in a day. So you'll notice they've got two holes, one is the water intake and one is the water outtake. And don't touch them, but you can swim quite close to them, and you'll actually feel them pushing that water out like a filter, which is quite an interesting experience if you're not ready for it. So guys, this one is called Graham's Bommy. So think of Bommy like an underwater hill or mountain just made up of coral. Complex systems, beautiful life. So our corals all have polyps on them on the outside of that skeleton, and they're like teeny tiny. There's hundreds of them. So what they're doing, they look like, if you look at it through a very, very powerful microscope, looks like an upside down jellyfish. So they can pull in little particles to feed, but where they get their primary food source is from an algae or cell. So our big rounded fish are our batfish. Now they're opportunistic feeders, and a co-worker once explained to me that they actually can eat turtle poo as one of their foods. So I'm not actually sure I wanted to know that, but now you know that too, you're welcome. We have some yellowtail fusiliers around. They're like lollies of the sea, those small little fish with the bright yellow tail. And if we see them around, we do need to be looking for our, especially in big numbers, look for our predatory species. So maybe you've seen the darker shaded fish, bigger, very smooth looking, very smooth scales, and very, very pointy fins and tail. Those are our tea tree trevallies. So why are they so smooth? They're very, very fast, and those pointy fins actually allow them to change direction. So left, right, up, down very quickly. They have really great eyesight, so they can actually spot things landing on the surface. Now, when I go to throw a bit of fish food into the water, you're going to see those tea tree trevallies charge for the food, probably get there first. Some other fish you may notice, we've got our black and white stripy fish. Maybe you can also spot them off of the side of the boat. Those are our sergeant majors. We have some spangled emperors down there, so they're silver and they've got a slight by them. And maybe you might see a brown, grey tinged fish, quite one on the Great Barrier Reef, as they have a toxin within them called Secatera. And Secatera will probably also put you in the hospital, except for food poisoning, which is not a good time. Well, our soft corals sort of move with the water direction, so waves and tides will influence that. Alrighty guys, I'm going to throw a little bit of fish food into the water. I'll start on the side I'm on, and then Vinny will do the other side.